Hey everybody, welcome back to another episode of Milwaukee Beer Review. As always, I'm Josh.
And I'm Ross.
And today we've got more beer from the great state of Wisconsin to share with all of you in the community. So this is going to be the first time we've had a chance to do some stuff from Ale Asylum. So some interesting stuff about Ale Asylum. They're a brewery that's been around for quite a while here in the state. So they were founded all the way back in 2006. And at for a time period, they were one of the largest craft breweries in Wisconsin. I think a few folks have taken over since then in the top 5 rankings, but they're still up there as far as barrel production, so a pretty well-known brewery here in the state. Their main location is actually off of Packers Avenue in Madison, Wisconsin, so that's where they brew the majority of what they've got. My aunt actually lives pretty close to there, so I get the chance to go in there fairly often. And this is actually some stuff we picked up from them all the way back in, I think it was like May time frame. So they also, I think important note for the Milwaukee folks out there, they do have a tap room in Milwaukee over on Old World 3rd Street as well. So pretty close to the Fiserv Forum and all the other good stuff around that area. So if you want to check out some of their stuff on tap, you can find it there for sure. So thanks, Tucker. So, Ross, what are we drinking today?
All right, so first we're starting off with the Bourbon Barrel Aged Pantheon. So this is a Imperial Brown Ale. It's aged in bourbon. We don't know what bourbon barrels they are, do they?
Do not know what bourbon barrels. Ale Asylum, if you're watching, let us know.
This comes in at 8.2% ABV, so not overly high. Still high, but nothing crazy or anything. But something I've never had. I don't know if you've ever had this. So.
I've never had Pantheon. And I know it's been around for a while. I saw listings for it all the way back in 2017. So I don't know how long they've been making Pantheon, but let's get this thing in the glass and give it a go.
All right. Let's get this open.
The Pantheon. It's a brown ale, so yeah, a little darker.
A little darker. Nothing crazy. Pretty much what you expect out of a brown ale.
Yeah. Pretty clear, thin.
Yep.
Looks good. All right, Ross.
All right.
Let's get a little nose on the Bourbon Barrel Aged Pantheon. Oh. Right on the nose, a little bit of bourbon.
Being a brown ale, you're not going to get many notes from the base beer itself, so...
Yeah, there's like that sweetness that comes with a brown ale. Not a ton of bourbon on the nose, but it's definitely there. It's subdued, though. It's not like super powerful.
Yeah.
All right. Let's give it a shot.
Cheers.
Cheers.
Sweet.
It is sweet. It's smooth, though.
Yeah.
It's really smooth. It's interesting. It's almost... I think I'm expecting a little bit more flavor to this on the palate, and it's almost a little thin to me. Like, it almost tastes thin. I don't know if that's, like, the bourbon kind of taking over for the brown ale notes that you would typically get on this.
Yeah.
But it does taste a little bit thin to me.
It's smooth, but it doesn't... It kind of lacks that bite you expect out of a bourbon barrel beer.
Yeah.
I mean, but it's very smooth. It's very drinkable. I mean, it's 8.2%, so it's not going to be very boozy or anything.
This isn't that super high ABV. I mean, 8.2% is nothing to
scoff at.
But yeah. It's good. Yeah. I think I'm a little bit underwhelmed just because I had a higher expectation for it, but everything that you'd expect is there. It's just a little thin to me. Like, the bourbon notes are there. The bourbon tastes good. I mean, there's a good bourbon note to this. It's well blended. It's not overpowering. But again, it's a little bit thin.
I agree with what you're saying. I think the expectation may have been high. I'm slightly underwhelmed. If I'm looking to put this on a scale on Untappd, kind of sitting the same style beer, I'm going to probably put about 3.25. It's just nothing. It's not bad. It's very good. I would definitely drink it again, but it's just I was expecting a little bit more.
That's the number that popped into my head too. If I'm going to put this in Untappd, I'm probably putting it in at 3.25. I think it's a good beer. It's very drinkable. I would absolutely. I mean, this is something that you could you could drink probably more than
Oh, yeah,
one
yeah.
bottle of. I mean, sharing a couple of these, you could easily do it because it's not overpowering. But
Yeah.
I think 3 1/4 is quite honestly a fair rating for this. So,
What do we got next?
what do we got next? So, we're going to continue the Pantheon series here, this time with the rum barrel-aged version. So this one comes in at 8.2% as well. The only difference is they're taking the base brown ale and they're aging this in rum barrels. Again, not sure what type of rum or what
Go on.
Yeah, so not sure what type of rum they've used or what rum barrels they used for this, but we're going to get this thing in the glass and give it a shot. Stop laughing at me.
I don't think we're going to see anything different than we saw from the first one. I don't think the rum's going to add anything to the color.
Agreed.
Yeah, so.
Yeah, it looks like pretty close to the same beer. Again, yeah, looks about pretty much identical.
Yeah.
Pretty standard looking brown ale. All right, Ross, let's get a little nose on the rum barrel-aged Pantheon. And the word I was searching for before the break was spirits. That was the word. I never found it, but I found it now, folks. And here we are. Let's get a little nose on this thing. I guess that's rum.
Yeah, I was about to say, like, I'm smelling like, I don't know what rum smells like.
You've never had rum before?
I've had rum before, I just never like.
It's really subtle. Whatever that note is that's coming off it is really subtle. I can tell that it's rum, but it's like it's even more subdued than the bourbon was.
I'll say for the first one we had, you can smell the sweetness on this. This one I'm not getting as much sweetness as off the nose, so.
Yeah. I agree.
All right.
Let's give it a shot.
Cheers.
Cheers.
You know, it's good. It's just not a lot there. There's not a lot going on.
I'm just really not even getting rum.
I'm getting a little rum. I'm getting a little bit on the back end.
The spirit is there, but I think this one's not very spirited. So I don't know. Again, it's thinner than I anticipated. I kind of expected it after the first one.
Being a brown ale, though, you're not going to get, like, I think we might be, maybe I'm wrong, but maybe we're too caught on, like, the idea of this being, like, a barrel-aged stout. And it's a brown ale. Brown ales are thinner beers.
It's not that, though.
Okay.
I think it's just missing. Like, they're just, the malt character is not there that I expect from a brown ale, which is why I think it tastes thin. And again, 8.2%. You know, I'm not sure what their grain bill is on a standard brown, but just, I don't know, it feels light to me.
Yeah.
On the palate. There is a bit of rum in that, but not a ton.
Not a lot.
It's kind of just like a standard, almost thin brown ale with a little bit of rum character to the taste notes.
Yeah. I mean, looking at this, if we're putting this on Untappd, I'm going to put this about a 3. A little bit behind what we had already. It's still very good. It's still very drinkable. I would definitely not shy away from ordering it. I also know from what I know of Asylum has better beers out there. So
They do. Honestly, I'm gonna come in at a 3 right along with you.
Okay.
I just think that's fair. Like, it's not as good as the bourbon barrel-aged Pantheon. It's a slight step down from that. I was thinking I might put it somewhere on the same level, but I think I do have to kind of fall in line with you at a 3 on this. Again, not a bad beer. Very, very drinkable. It's just a little bit underwhelming.
yeah, I think that's fair.
Yeah.
So.
All right.
All right.
So what's last?
So we're ending a little change of gears. It's the bourbon barrel aged Diablo Belga. So this is a Belgian style double aged in bourbon barrels. So this one comes in slightly higher at 9%. We do have the IBUs on this one. It comes in at 35 IBUs. Not a lot bitter, so we'd expect. Asylum does do their Diablo, which is their Belgian double. So this is kind of the bourbon barrel version. If you've had the double, if you haven't, it's just a very good beer. So I'm actually really excited about this one because I know what the base one tastes like, so I'm hoping that the bourbon just kind of makes this one a little bit better. So.
Yeah, let's get it in the glass, check it out.
So let's get this open. Not really sure what to expect on the color. Maybe a little bit lighter than the brown, I would assume.
Yeah, I think you're going to get a little bit cloudier beer.
No, actually darker than the brown.
Wow. It's about on par. I'm looking at it off to the side here. More carbonation, I think, than we saw in the brown, which is expected in that Belgian style. All right. Looks good. All right, Ross, get a little nose on the Belgian double aged in bourbon barrels. Yeah, that same bourbon note from the Pantheon is definitely there. I'm assuming they use the same bourbon barrels.
Yeah. Not as sweet, though, as the first one. When you smell it, but it's not as sweet as the first one.
There's definitely that Belgian character, though, behind it. Like, I can already tell that I think this is going to be a little bit more full-flavored beer, just from what I'm getting on the nose, or at least I'm expecting that. All right,
well,
let's give it a go. Cheers, buddy.
It's not...
Again, it's just a little bit thin.
Now, I've had the base one of this, and the base one is very flavorful, it's got very Belgian double notes and everything, and this one just somewhat subdued from the bourbon. It's got
a little bit of a bourbon kick at the very front, but it's subdued, and then you get kind of a sweet Belgian note to the back end of the beer. But it's just a little bit thin. There's no punch to this. It doesn't. The malt character to all three of these beers just feels light to me.
Yeah, I agree. It's just missing that something at the end. That's like, I would order the base over this. I like the base beer over this one, which is rare. I normally like the barrel aged versions, but.
Again, I mean, there's nothing wrong with it from the perspective of it's very drinkable, it's very smooth. This shouldn't scare anyone away. If you're trying to get into some of these a little bit more robust styles of beer, this could be a good transition-ish beer for you. If somebody's got this, I don't think they have it available anymore right now, but something to think about, I suppose. But if I'm putting this in Untappd, I'm putting it right along with the rum barrel age. I'm putting it at a 3. Unfortunately, there's not enough here for me to give it anything higher than that. It's right down the middle of the road.
Yeah, I'm gonna go 3 1/4. I'm gonna put it right on par with the first one that we had. It's very good. I guess this is kind of my favorite of the 3.
Sure.
But I can't give it better than 3 1/4 because it's just. And I think we said it's just missing that something that kind of puts it over the top. So.
Yeah, for sure. Well, again, I don't think any of these ratings are horrible. I mean, very drinkable beers, really, really good stuff. I think we both appreciate Asylum and what they've done, and they've got some really great stuff. This just might not be it, unfortunately, but still worth a try. I mean, if you've got the opportunity to try some of these, give them a shot. I'd love to hear what some other folks think, too. Maybe we're completely wrong, but I don't know. I think... we'll have to give these a shot maybe next year when they release them and see if maybe there's a difference. So that wraps up our first little shot here at Asylum. Check us out on the rest of our social media. We're on Untappd. We're on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, YouTube. We're trying to keep all those up and running, so check us out there. Link for those channels will be in the description. Like, comment, and subscribe here on YouTube. Would love to hear from you. We've been hearing from a few folks out there in the community. We plan to keep on doing this, so lots of opportunities and lots more breweries for us to get to, and we'll keep cycling through as new beer releases come out throughout the year. Keep checking us out, keep listening in, and we'll be back with a new episode here very soon. Thanks, everybody.
Thanks.